All right, top 5 coaches with the most pressure, and these jump up significantly each time. Second-year coaches. These are guys hired last year and coming to this year, I think need to kind of show something. Number 5, Shane Beamer. Look, he's going to have a long leash at South Carolina, but with the transfers he's gotten with Spencer Rattler, I think that the Gamecock faithful would like to see some kind of positive steps forward now that he's got a guy who was the number 1 recruit in all of football just a few years ago. And even though he wasn't great at Oklahoma, his not great wasn't as bad as they've had at quarterback, and he's won a lot of games. He's won a lot of big games. If he can get things right, then South Carolina can maybe, make a little noise this year. But I think there's a little bit of pressure to make that right with Spencer Rattler because they've never had a guy like that there before.
I never thought about him. I thought that he would have plenty of time. And obviously with Rattler, it does maybe make it a little bit more urgent.
Yeah. I just think to make that work puts a little more pressure on you. And look, there's not a whole lot of guys that you really can put on this list anyway. So I had to get to a 5th because it's not the top 4. Or really, and the top 3 in this one are higher than the other 2. So number 4 would be Andy Avalos at Boise State. Last year, they were not Boise State caliber what they are, but they like him. But I do think that the natives will start to get restless if they go through 2 kind of middling years at Boise, especially given they're trying to convince people to notice them more.
Yeah, they're definitely in that race to want to be a part of expansion. I just don't see they're in anywhere unless it's the Pac-12, just trying to find schools to basically stay afloat. But yeah, it wasn't the best first year. Jeremiah Dickey's a great AD. That's his hire, so they're going to give him some time to try to build that thing up. And I do think the expansion piece is a bit of a wild card to their ultimate motivation. But I think they're going to give him all the opportunity in the world. There's high expectations out there, but they obviously have a lot of confidence in what he did at Oregon and elsewhere. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they do in year 2.
Yeah. Number 3, Josh Heupel.
Let me ask you something about teams that are bubble teams when it comes to the future. Do they have to? I mean, is it more pressure to win? Not that there's already not a lot of pressure, but someone like Boise State just has to keep building more seats, but they have to be relevant at the top somewhere.
I think so. I mean, if you're Boise State, and you're trying to get in this, I would think it would hurt if you were just blah, because they have enough time to say, like, listen, we've played big teams. We've played big teams on the road. We've beaten Virginia Tech and Oregon and, Oklahoma and Florida State and all these teams. We feel like we can do that on a regular basis. Like, please do it. But if you fall off, then you're like, yeah, but that was then. This is now. Things have changed. Number 3, Josh Heupel did a really good job in his first year at Tennessee. Got a lot of development and growth out of Hendon Hooker. They've got big-time recruits coming in. They've got alumni spending a lot of money. And the reason I put him on this list, even though I don't think he's in any trouble because he's got a fantastic AD in Danny White, but the fans in Tennessee have proven to be, let's just say it, impatient. So if they drop off a little bit, then all of a sudden there's heat on Josh Heupel that didn't exist before, even though it's just his second year in a program that has not been relevant for about 25 years.
The worst thing they could do is make another change.
Yeah, but they just keep, change 24 years. So, but yeah, it's been a while. So it's been them and the Cowboys are kind of on the same, trajectory there. Tennessee, they last won in 1998. And then not only have they not competed for the national title since they won it, they haven't really competed for conference titles since they won the national title all that often.
What about division titles?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, they were, it was Florida and Tennessee every year in the SEC East. And then after 1998, it was like, no, that was it. And they've completely taken that off. So, number 2, Steve Sarkisian. Why is Steve Sarkisian only number 2? Well, you'll find out in a second. But, again, he's in a pressure cooker anyway. This Quinn Ewers thing better work out for him, or they're going to have to go back to the drawing board again with Arch Manning. And there's just so many different things going on. Plus, he's even said that they had bad apples. They needed to, clean out some rough spots and warts last year. So, hopefully for Steve Sarkisian, he can do that. But, again, it still remains to be seen because nobody's done it at that school in a long time as well.
Mm-hmm. I think he's got a longer leash, but with them, you never know.
Again, it's just going to mean –
absolutely. If they were to blank the bed somehow, and it's just another year after last year, but I still think, again, the last thing they need is yet another coaching change.
Yes. And number one, considering that they tried to fire him sometime randomly in the spring, Bryan Harsin at Auburn. Because this is a fan base that has little brother syndrome really, really badly. And, you know, the program across the state, their biggest rival, is the best program in college football, so you understand that. But they are very reactionary at Auburn. They hired Bryan Harsin, brought him down from Boise State, and then they've decided that pretty quickly a bunch of alumni and power brokers decided, no, we don't like this guy. We've got to make a change. And it was just after year one, and that was one of the most bizarre situations I think I've ever seen in coaching. And bizarre situations seem to happen a lot at Auburn, like Bobby Petrino showing up there, or, you know, everything that's kind of got like Terry Bowden all of a sudden getting fired. The way that all that stuff went down, that happens at Auburn a lot. And if you're ever a person who sits and wonders, goes, why does this stuff happen to me a lot? Well, maybe it happens because of you.
Yeah, no, that's a possibility. One of the things about Auburn, have you seen what Gus Malzahn? Now he's having a good run, and they seem to be on the uptick. But Malzahn, in a little way, not comparing him to Dave Aranda in any way, but Malzahn has said he can be himself. Where at Auburn, sometimes that position is in position, that spot, you cannot be who you are, and if you can, then obviously you're very fortunate.
Yeah, I mean, but it's really.
I think Malzahn's having fun again. I think he's had fun when he beat Alabama or beat Saban or whatever, but I'm saying he's having fun day in and day out, because even though there's pressure to win everywhere, the pressure at UCF and kind of the fun uptick of what, like say, you know, the building of it is so much different than what he had to deal with at Auburn.
Yeah. But yeah, the
Auburn
Bryan Harsin
eats
situation
coaches.
is just weird.
Top 5, what programs eat coaches the most often?
Right
Might
now,
be a
it's
couple of those on that
it's
list.
3 of them on this list right now.